Welcome everyone, thank you for tuning in. This is the MSV podcast. Here we talk about crypto. My name is Sabi, I am your host today. Let's start. Hello everyone, thank you for tuning in to the first episode of the MSV podcast. Today we will learn a lot about APIs, but before we dive in, I have a guest here, Flavian from Bware Labs. Hi Flavian, thank you for joining me. How are you?
Hey, it's lovely to be here. Thank you for inviting me. I'm doing pretty well. How about you?
Yeah, I'm fine, thank you. I came with a lot of questions because I think we have a lot of ground we need to cover today, several topics. First, if you could give me a brief introduction about yourself and about your company, that would be lovely.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm Flavian. I'm the CEO of Bware Labs. As a background on my side, I have more than 10 years of experience of software development. I've been working in the past for big corporations like Poker 888, Intel, or Luxoft. Previously, I worked in the army, and I have like a military degree, an officer in a way. After working for about 2 years into the system, I went more in the corporation and private domain. So additionally to that, I've been into crypto since 2018. I was raised during the bear market.
That's the best time, I think, to be raised in the bear market.
Yeah, that's where I learned my lessons and lost the money in a way. But you have to. That's the best way of learning in a way. So I'm glad I went through that period and not now or something, because now the market is not doing so well. Other than that, we've started our company in 2020, so somewhere around October. Back then, I was working at Anchor with the four co-founders that we started the project. That mainly happened when a big infrastructure provider like Infura went down. So that was our.
So that gave you the idea, right? I mean, it was like a market gap which you could see.
Yeah, for sure. We saw that Infura had monopoly in a way over the infrastructure side, because all the big exchanges were using them, and in that day we saw that all of them had disabled their withdrawals. That was the moment when we saw that there is a need for competition in this industry.
Yeah, so that was kind of a trigger point for you, sparked the idea. Before we go into the details, for our audience to clarify about the APIs, because we see them all around Twitter. People are talking about APIs, whether they are working good or they are stopped or they are halted. But I found it that not many people know exactly what APIs are and what they do. So maybe just clarify that. And I think we can say that APIs are not only in crypto. So we will talk about crypto, but APIs are everywhere in each software. But yeah, if you can just describe the APIs, that would be very helpful.
For sure. So let me start with a very small example. So you can think of an API when you are at the restaurant. So you, as a client, in a way, you send you take an order. So you say you want pizza and I don't know, spaghetti and
Whatever you like.
soda, whatever you like, and you put the order to the waiter in a way, and then the waiter goes to the chef.
Yeah.
And he does some work there. He prepares the food and everything, and then the food comes to you. So in a way, the order that you have made, it's considered an API, because you send a request. Okay, bring me pizza and pasta and soda, and the chef, that you can consider it as the backend or the server side, prepares it, and then it sends you back the food.
And so this is applicable for, let's say, any operation, right? I mean, we don't see, whenever we click on whatever command swap or whatever, we don't really see what is happening in the background, as we don't go into the kitchen in the restaurant to see how they prepare the meal. We just see it coming towards us. So the API is the one which delivers then, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's a form of request and response. You ask about some information and you receive a response. In a way, it's a communication between two entities. In our small example, it was between the client of a restaurant and the chef.
Yeah.
So you can see it like that. In if we extrapolate in for development and software development, usually it happens. You have APIs in the front end, so you and also in web development in general. So, for example, you open a web page. I don't know, Uniswap or Booking.com, or not making any.
Yeah. No, this is not advertised. We are not
No, we are
sponsored
not
by
making
them.
advertised. Yeah. So you're opening a web page, and in the background, the web page doesn't have all the information. So about any kind of booking or any kind of information that it should show you. So a part of those information are stored in a database. It's clear that the web page couldn't host the entire database. So if it were that, it would take ages for that page to open.
Yeah, let's just
right?
call it
Because
for the simplicity. There is a big computer in the background which holds everything, all the information.
exactly. So in a way, how APIs work, you have all the heavy information relying on a server somewhere, and the web application just tells the server, okay, give me information about this topic, and it sends through an API a request to that database, and the database sends the response. And then the web page is showing you information in a human readable format.
Okay, thank you for the explanation. I think this was pretty good, and in kitchen language, so I could also understand. Yeah, I think what we need to know is if APIs don't work, then even if in the background everything is okay, we just can't access the data or whatever we want to do, and whether that be crypto or not crypto, almost any software. You mentioned at the beginning about Infura, about the market gap, let's say, or what was the trigger of Bware Labs. So maybe we can go into that now that we understand what APIs are, and we can just talk briefly what happened back then, because as you said, everything was halted. And it's not because the blockchain stopped, because that was the impression of maybe many people, but in essence, the APIs were halted.
Yes, in a way, I can explain more how the blockchain works in general. So
yeah,
the blockchain is basically like a database, like a big server, but distributed around the world. So every node has its own database, like one-to-one. It's like a distributed database. And when a transaction is made, then that transaction is put into that database. To gain access to that database, you can do it through an API. So you query an API, and then it gives you a response of, for example, transaction or user balance. And there are two ways in which you can do it. You can either run your own node locally, so you have it running Windows or on Linux, and expose some APIs, and then you query it. That's if you are like a DevOps engineer or have some software engineering background to do that.
So not the majority of the people who would interact with it.
Yeah, exactly. Or you can simply go to a company like Infura now, like us, and you can they can simply give you an endpoint, like only the API, you can just query it directly. So the blockchain was functioning without any issues back then. The API for retrieving information from the blockchain was broken, and not across one exchange, across all, because they were all using the same
so
the same provider.
All the connection From the clients to the kitchen was lost. I mean, the waitress disappeared, we can say, right?
Yeah, it was the waiters were broken.
Yeah.
It
Okay. Yeah, and this gave you the idea that maybe not all the blockchain or maybe not all the services should depend on only one API or one API provider, because I think we can call Infura and Bware of also API providers,
Yes,
right? That's how you started in 2020, you said?
yes, like 1 year and a half or almost 2 years ago.
And that is a speedy process, let's say. I mean, it was not even 2 years since you started, and I could see on your website that your team is already quite big.
Yeah, right now we are about 30 people, 31 exactly, and we are still looking to hire in some key places like marketing and sales. Us being engineers, easy to scale and have a product and have a good, reliable service. But in the end, you have to have the great marketing as well, to make your project known and used.
Yes, I agree. I mean, if you don't have anybody to sell your product, you can have the best product, but people won't know about it. So you started. I think you are 5 co-founders, 5 engineers who started the development, right?
Yes, that's correct.
And then you started to scale the team up and started and went into the marketing. Do you have already a product, let's say, which is in competition, or people can already I don't know, use it?
Yes, we since we had that idea, we've grown. So Bware Labs is building a suite of products. The infrastructure side is not the only product that we offer. So right now we have two business lines. We have the validators product. In a way, they are securing a lot of proof of stake networks.
And
And
these are on multi-chain, right? I mean, you're not focusing only on one chain.
yes, they are multi-chain. We have a lot of them running on Tendermint, like XLR and Yumi and others.
Mhm.
And also we have layer ones like Elrond, Casper. We also have layer twos like Polygon. Also, we are involved in the Polkadot ecosystem by running collators on parachains like Moonbeam, Moonriver, Astar. Also, we are bridge operators. So, for example, on Avalanche, we are one of the 4 bridge operators. They are called wardens, and were we started in June last year. Kind of made one year of being bridge operators, and we had under responsibility around $5 billion worth of assets.
Just to clarify, sorry for interrupting, the bridge operator and the warden expression. So that means that you are controlling and verifying all the transactions which are bridged between Avalanche and other chains, right?
Yes, that's correct.
And you have the other product, the Blast API.io.
Yes.
Or Blast API.
Yes.
I don't know how it's pronounced correctly.
However works. If you can write it on Google, that's perfectly fine. So that's the main product. We started in a way in a centralized version. We wanted to see what are the performance requirements of clients, in what parameters are they satisfied, and what would be the industry standards from a centralized point of view. We had an early release last year in June, like an alpha, and we gathered a lot of information, and then we released this year in March, we released Blast, which had a lot of improvements in regards of payment and a lot of nice features.
Something just hit my ear. You said centralized, and I also saw on your website regarding centralized versus decentralized APIs. Now, I don't know how we should imagine or picture decentralized APIs, because as I think there are providers, right, as you are, for example. And what decentralized means in terms of API or API providing APIs?
You can think of it, it depends what level of decentralization you want to have. for example, in a fully decentralized manner, you would have multiple entities or multiple parts of an API that even if one stops working correctly, then you'd have others that would replace that functionality. So in a way, they would work even even if like one part of the services stopped working.
Mhm.
So they would have some kind of redundancy mechanism. So that's what fully decentralizing would mean.
But I guess that is
Uh,
pretty difficult to achieve, especially in
yeah,
short term.
yeah, for sure. I mean, there are examples of points that can't really be made decentralized, and one is the DNS side. There was one example a few days ago. A website wasn't pointing anymore to where it should, so it was pointing to a malicious site.
Mhm.
So that was done. The providers of the DNS or the
Yeah,
that
so
was
I think it's very important to note here because that we are talking about APIs, you know, and the kitchen and the waiter and the command order in very simple way, but this is a very complex structure, let's say, of the of the whole operation when the command is, let's say, served, or the client is served through the command and API. So I am imagining that it's not just these three entities in this
exactly.
command.
I mean, in this kind of example, you can see the DNS as part of ordering to entirely new restaurant. So the order goes to another restaurant, and you end up not having the product that you wanted. You already paid for it.
Yeah. Okay. So let's say just decentralization, because now I think it's one of the most talked topics around crypto is decentralized. Has several levels and layers and how it can be accomplished. Let's say, am I right if I say that? The decentralized could also mean that we don't have monopoly on the market. I mean, the more API providers are on the market, the more decentralized it gets.
In a way, you're correct, because people using different API providers, even if one of them goes down, then they have others to choose from, and they can switch quite fast.
For example, if I need to use an API provider, I could use like more than one at the same time, or I could switch to another one in a short term.
There are ways in which, if you are writing software, you can have like a backup solution.
Mhm.
So you can have it written in your code that if this provider is not responding correctly or something, you just switch to the other, so the users don't feel any change.
Mhm.
They simply see your product functioning very well. So it's kind of a redundancy mechanism.
Understood. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for explaining this. So, about Blessed API, I think you have a free version and a paid version. I could see that you are offering for industrial use, which I guess it's a big complex API developed for bigger operations, and you also have a free version for smaller operation. Just a few words, if you could explain what are the main differences between these two versions you are offering.
So the main difference is in the number of API calls you can make. So that's our main differentiation point.
Which is the number of
Also,
users, right?
not necessarily the number of users, but let's go from the beginning. So you're a developer and you're just starting to write your first lines of code, and you need access to the blockchain. You come to our platform, you get the free version, because you don't make so many API calls, you don't retrieve so much information, and you develop your decentralized application, your DApp.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next step, you want to go to production. You publish your code. You have then your own website where you have your DApp, and when other users are using your DApp, basically they are making, each one of them is making API calls towards the blessed API. So the more users you have, the more API calls you make in a way. So that's the moment when, as a developer, you would end up needing a higher subscription because you are already with a product. You've developed it, and now you have a lot of usage. So you have a lot of people using it. So it needs a lot of APIs.
So you
that's the
scale
moment
up as you
you
go
scale up.
forward. Yeah. And
Exactly.
I guess you reach a point when you will need, I mean, hopefully you will need the industrial version, let's say.
Exactly. In a way, they are not different in the type of data they are retrieving, but simply the amount needed. So it's thought to help you on your journey from early stages to a successful application.
You mentioned that you are also working with Aaron. I just want to mention I'm a big fan of Aaron, and I was thinking that, and I know that your headquarters is in Bucharest, there's in Sibiu. Do you have like I don't know, meetups with them, or this is the same with every other chain? So do you have any blockchain or any project which you are working more with than with the others?
In a way, we kind of work the same with the projects that we like. So we pick the ones that we particularly like from a technical point of view and some other metrics, and we grow a relationship together. It's the same with Elrond. We have I think we have a really good connection in which we collaborate at the technical level. So when we added support for Elrond, our engineers were in contact, and with each step we had a testing stage with them. So we've done it like in the books or by the books.
By the books, yeah. That's I think
Books.
that's the best, I guess. When you started, did you focus on only one chain, or it was like some you started with all of them, which you have all just added additional chains?
We've started based on adoption. So and what we thought that would be the next chain in which there will be demand. So we started with EVM, Ethereum Virtual Machine chains. So Ethereum is one of them, and a lot of other projects copied some parts of what Ethereum did best and added some layers of improvements in a way. So, for example, Avalanche or Phantom or Binance Smart
upgrade,
Chain.
right?
Yeah, they used EVM or Ethereum as a base layer, and they had the same APIs and similar things, and they upgraded on the consensus, and they made it proof of stake and some other improvements. And at that moment, like in June last year, Ethereum had most of the application that were developed on it, and we sensed that the other chains started to bring the same dApps to their chain, basically giving some grants to migrate some of those dApps to those chains as well. And it was pretty easy to do because basically they were having the same base layer. So once you've written code on Ethereum, you can simply migrate it to other chains as well.
I guess with small adaptations. Yeah, and that's how you got to 13 chains, right? If I remember it correctly.
Yes, that's correct. That's how we've got there. Beginning of this year, we also saw a lot of projects that were starting to develop on Elrond, most due to the fact that VCs were making like ecosystem funds to invest in projects that are building on Elrond. So that was the moment when we thought that there will be a need of APIs and also infrastructure.
Okay, thanks for the description of how things work here. I want to touch on Web3 as well. Next big thing, or maybe the next hype. Web3 is not achieve, let's say, but we hope it's achievable. Is also Bware Labs preparing for Web3? And if so, how do you do it, or what we can know about it, what we should know about it?
We are basically powering the Web3. So each dApp that is developed needs access to the blockchain. So we are like a base layer for each application. We work at the fundamental level to help Web3 thrive in a way. So that's how we see us in the whole ecosystem of projects.
Okay, what other plans do you have? What are the plans short term and long term? Anything which we should keep an eyes out for? Big announcements upcoming?
Yeah, so in the next period we will focus on a testnet in which we will test out the decentralization of our protocol, meaning that right now, as I mentioned, we are running centralized, we are running our own nodes and everything, and we plan to decentralize the node hosting part. So, for example, there are a lot of people that are running nodes for their own use or like in a hobby manner, and they are underused. So they are not using them at their full capacity, and they can use us to add their nodes to the platform, so that those nodes are used in full capacity, yeah. And also in a decentralized manner, because they can be all over the world. Doesn't have to all be in the same data center, because if the data center is down, then basically you have a problem. But if the nodes are in a way geographically distributed, you won't have the same issue.
Just to summarize, if I understood it correctly, that you will delegate out some work to nodes which are not running on full capacity. So it's gonna be something like working together with people who are maybe doing it for a hobby, and they want to ramp up their contribution.
Yeah, exactly, and they will earn some rewards for doing so. So they can stake some of our tokens, and the value of the rewards is because they are running infrastructure. In a way, how the Elrond validators work. They earn rewards because they bring their contribution to the network and validates transactions.
Do we have any numbers regarding the rewards for the tokens? So this is in the works right now.
So it's a work in progress. What I can share is that it will be an incentivized testnet. What that means is by participating in this testnet, you will also receive some initial tokens, as you would have bought them in a public sale or something. Those tokens can be used furthermore to continue staking and having your initial nodes into the network.
Understood. For how long this testnet will run? Is it, if you have an idea, or it's unknown yet?
We were thinking around 2 months, but of course that can change based on how fast we go through each stage and the maturity of the product itself. So it can be less or more.
Probably on your Twitter page, it will appear when time is due. Thank you very much for the brief explanation about everything about the APIs. I feel like I'm a bit smarter after this half an hour, 40 minutes talk with you. As you heard, Flavian, if you are a node runner, even if it's from hobby, then watch out for their Twitter page or for the web page, because there will be a testnet, and you can earn some rewards in the future. I would like to thank you, Flavian, for being here. Anything else if you want to add or announce?
Thank you for having me, firstly, and I don't really have anything to announce. Just keep an eye on our Twitter, and we will share some news there when the time is perfect in a way.
Yeah, or optimal at least, if it's
optimal.
Yes. Yeah. Well,
I mean, in this market, it can't be perfect.
Well, it never is. It never is. Yeah, if it's too high, it's too high. It's too low, it's too low. So we are just looking for better than yesterday, let's say. But thank you
correct.
again for being here. Thank you for accepting the invitation and for the explanation. As I said, everyone, you can find Bware Labs Twitter page and website in the description of this podcast. And see you in the next episode.